In this video, we're going to show you some of the ways that we help business owners in New Zealand increase their profitability. Now, for context, every year I work one-on-one with 15 business owners where I dive into their business and what's going on in their mind to help understand where it is that they want to go. From there, we have to figure out the financial side and the non-financial side to help them get closer to their overall goals. And two of the clear themes that always come out when I do this work with business owners all over the country in all sorts of different industries is one, they want to increase their profitability to reward themselves more for the hard work that they are doing and for the risk that they are taking as a business owner. So in another video, we're going to go into how to hire that first employee. But often before we do that, we have to understand why and if that's what we really want. And sometimes it's not about hiring that person. It's often about increasing the profitability so that they feel more reward for the work that they're taking, and maybe the hire can come later down the track. So in this video, we're going to specifically look at what people have done to increase their profitability. Now, before we even get into some of these action items that these business owners need to take, what we do to start with is we have a look at three key components. And the first one is what the numbers are telling us to start with in the business. So we have a look at the likes of Xero or any financial modeling that they have to get true data of what the profitability of the business actually is in the here and now. That gives us a really good starting point to figure out, okay, if we model that out, what's it going to look like into the future? So that's what we do for them as part two, is we actually take that data and we show them, okay, if nothing changes, this is what the next 12 months will look like for you based on what the historical numbers are telling us. So then we've got where we currently are and where we're going to be if we stay doing the same things that we're currently doing. And the third piece is that we need the business owner to do some non-financial pre-work for us so that we can see where it is that they actually want to be in 5 years, in 1 year's time, looking at strengths that they have in their business that they can see, what opportunities they can see, the things that are getting in the way, the frustrations of the business, and what they think some of the solutions are. Then, once we have all of that information and we analyze it, we can sit down and start to map out, okay, you said you wanted to be in this position in 5 years or in 1 year's time. If we keep doing what we're currently doing, is that going to get us there? If not, then we need to start making some changes. So throughout this process, what becomes very evident often is that business owners will keep adding in more things into their business. And often these are things that we've been asked for by a customer, by the marketplace, we've seen a shiny object or a good idea online and we thought we could do that too, and we think that's going to be the thing that can increase our income. And what can often happen is, being a business owner, we get pulled in so many different directions and then still need to run the business, do the marketing, keep the clients happy, send the invoice, chase up the unpaid invoice, do more administration, pay the taxes. All these sorts of things can start to add up and pull the time of the business owner away from what they are actually good at doing. So at this point too, we have to stop and go, well, what did you actually start this business for? What is it that you wanted to achieve? And it's normally to do more of what they like doing, where they feel the most empowered, powerful, creative, and drive a lot of output. That's their zone of happiness or genius, as other people would call it. And that's normally what will drive more profit if they can stick to that. So sometimes at this little bit of a fork in the road, we have to identify that we might need to get some admin support to help do some of these things that are slowing us down and taking us away from our zone of genius. But we don't know what this is going to do to us financially because we've never modeled any financial information. But of course, now we have. So as I said before, by the time we catch up, we've already modeled out to see where is this business going. So we can start to model in some admin support and see what the cost of that admin support would be and what that would then do to our expenses and therefore our cash in each month. We can see financially the impact of adding in that extra cost. But of course, by adding in more cost, it's actually an investment because we get our time back. Now, it's only really an investment if we can get the time back and then put that time back into more high value tasks or zone of genius type work that's going to drive more profit in the business. So we have to take a little bit of a step back at this stage and have a look at the pricing that we have put together for all of the different offerings that we have in the business. And often what we find is that some of them have higher margin than others. Some of them we don't even enjoy doing, and some of them we don't even know why we offer it anymore. And when we start to systematically work through, okay, each good or service, what does it make us? Then we can start to see where the best use of our time is from the financial side of things. But of course, in a business too, you can have items, goods, or services that you still don't necessarily love doing, but they have good margin. And eventually you have to make a decision, do you keep doing those things? And sometimes you can stage it and you remove yourself from doing them because it's not actually part of where you saw the business going. Or other times you accept, okay, if I've got a lot of good stuff happening in my business, I can accept that we have to do some of the things that I don't necessarily like doing. They have a good margin, they help protect the margin of the overall business, and we can stomach doing some of it, but it's not the key thing that we want to be doing. So what we often find is that the business owner may have added in too many goods or services to this business, and we need to bring it back to its core. And we need to focus on the things that we're really good at. Now, why we focus on the things that we're really good at is because that's normally why we started the business to start with. And we can see that it's going to get us to where we would like to go. And also, when we work on things that we're good at or competent with, we have more ability to charge for what it is that we're doing. When we stray into other things, then we start to get a bit worried about whether people are going to pay us or not. And so then we drop the price, we discount, we have a look at what other people are doing, we copy their pricing. And then before we know it, we've ended up down a rabbit hole that's got nothing to do with us. Now back to our current pricing, and this is where we may have to make a decision to start to increase our prices. Well, how do we do that? Well, when we used to say one figure, we now say a different figure. Now, the difference between saying one figure and saying the other figure sounds really easy, but often that is a psychological barrier that we have to get through as a business owner, and that's something that we help people work through. How are we going to go about communicating that? When are we going to do that? From what date? What if they have an objection? And we start to work through dealing with all of that so that we're better armed to go back into the marketplace and ask for more for the value that we are providing. Now, the market will respond by either saying yes or no. And what we often see across a lot of these businesses is that the market is willing to pay more than what the business owner once thought. So they have come up with their pricing somehow, but often can't work out why it is that they've stayed there. And they haven't even thought about when the last time was that they increased their prices or what the input cost increases have been to even create that product. So they can be losing margin through this process before we even get to increasing the prices to try and capture back to what it was that was once a margin before all of the inflation. So then the market typically responds by saying, okay, I'm still happy to pay this. This then blows the paradigm a little bit and helps beat some of the psychological struggle that we have of what if people say no, what if I don't get any work anymore? And people realize, wow, I'm good at what I do. This is what I wanted to be doing. People are willing to pay me for this. And then we go down a road of testing what we can actually be charging. So through this process already, you can see that we're mapping out current financial transactions and where they'll get us to if we don't make any changes. Then we start to model out, what if we do make these changes? How much more cash is this going to drop out? And of course, how much more tax we have to pay. But because the business owner can see that, they can start to see the reward that they will get over a 12-month period from repricing things to deliver more value to the customer, but also be rewarded for doing so. And then they feel excited about the fact they're going to be able to pay themselves more. So often what we'll do is go, how much are you paying yourself at the moment in cash in the hand? Okay, what would it mean to you if we could increase that to X, Y, Z? What is the figure that you would like to be able to pay yourself? And we start to model that out. Then we can work backwards to figure out, okay, what number of goods or services would we need to sell in order to be able to deliver that? And we can reverse calculate all of this. And this is where the excitement starts to grow when business owners start to understand their numbers better. Now, every time with these business owners that we work with as well, we catch up after 6 weeks to remodel out this financial information, have a look at the data from the marketplace and what else has changed with the business owner in that 6 weeks. And we can start to see the next chapter of the financial future of the business. We do so again at the end of the 90 days. And this is a cash flow tool that business owners can take with them and carry on into the next iteration of their business. And many of those business owners that have worked with us years ago still use this to this day. And a lot of them are now paying themselves well in excess of $180,000 per year. And that means that they're in the top tax bracket. So it's amazing to see the journey that people can go on. But it starts with belief and actually understanding the financial side of the business to start with, and being willing to make some psychological changes and go out there and test the market by adding more value to it, but also creating enough demand so that you can get the correct data from the market and know with more confidence that what you are doing out there is valued by the market. And as soon as we get enough of those wins, we have even more confidence. Confidence leads to more momentum. Momentum leads to the big snowball that just keeps rolling. And all of a sudden we look back and think, wow, It was only 3 years ago that I was once charging XYZ and was kind of burnt out by my business and unhappy with what it was that it was delivering to me, and now look where I am. So change takes time and it needs to start small, but a lot of Kiwi businesses are actually delivering more value to the marketplace than they realize. They're simply too scared to price it correctly based on what the market is actually willing to pay. Now, before we get out of here, one of the other interesting things that happens when a business becomes more profitable is the business owner starts to value their time more. And then they actually start to take some of this profit and reinvest it back into their life, but mostly their business to start with. Now, quickly on the life piece, they might even decide to start paying for the likes of a cleaner, and they remove tasks from their life that they hate doing that were costing them time, and now they have the money to be able to buy that time back, and then they don't feel as begrudgingly about getting home and then having to do the cleaning. So it's a great ability to be able to increase your profit, to get your time back and decrease your frustration. Now, in business, what it can also mean is people will buy in admin support or maybe even hire somebody, which is another video which you can go and check out as well. But it allows them to then get back to that zone of genius that we talked about before as well. And this is a very, very powerful place for a business owner to get to know that they have more of the resource that they once wanted, i.e. money, and they can deploy that to buy back the resource that they can't get more of, and that is their time. So if you're watching this and you want to increase the profit in your business, then you've got to think about how you're going to price the goods or services that you sell to start with, and whether they are actually going to get you to where you want to be. That's a big part of the work that we do when we work with business owners one-on-one to help them understand that. And then we go back to the marketplace and we test that. And we have hundreds of business owners that work with us, so we know what's working out there and what isn't, and we can go out there and test it. And not everything happens quickly, but this is business. We want to be in it for the long term, so we want to get the numbers financially sustainable to start with and to deliver to us what it is that we want to achieve. And often, of course, we need more demand so we can actually test our pricing with the right ideal types of clients and make sure that we're dealing with the people that we want to be dealing with rather than saying yes to everybody. So if you want to explore how your business could become more profitable, feel free to book a call with me. I'll have it with you one-on-one to see if this 90-day business planning program that we have with business owners all across the country could be ideal for you. And if not, keep listening to the content, pick up some nuggets, and then one day we can work together.